Crosby from the corner, twisting and turning inside out. Beautiful move, trying to get the shot on. He holds, he shoots, he scores! Absolutely!
The pitch, high fly ball center field. It's hit pretty well toward the wall. Goal!
Roethlisberger gives him a lot of room here. Juju Smith-Schuster off to the races inside the 30, the 20, the 10.
Welcome to a live edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline in the BPTV studios right in Bethel Park in the municipal building. That's where we're at, right near the police station, the mayor's office, the library. We're right in the studio here. Thanks for watching us on Comcast 7, only in Bethel Park. Thanks for watching us on Verizon 32 in Bethel Park and all the way from Nemacolin, Cranberry, Wexford, and all points in between in greater Pittsburgh area. We appreciate it. Thanks for the Facebook likes, 6929. That's where we're at, so we appreciate that. Little sad news. Smoking Jim sent me a text message. I'll just look at it again. He had an IV picture in his arm. Said, I've been stuck in the hospital since Friday. Think I'm going to get out maybe tomorrow. Can't do the show. Doesn't tell me what's wrong. So if you can send prayers to my BFF who tells us nothing, Smokin' Jim Frazier, please pray for Smokin' Jim. He said he'd watch the Facebook Live. Hey, Smokin' Jim, we're praying for you no matter what phantom illness you have this time. I know it wasn't a car accident, but I saw you with the IV, and we know that wasn't just water there. So good luck to you. Hope you get out soon. And we have a lot of great sports talk to get started with, but Smokin' Jim won't be here. I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. Nick Callis went and took Smokin' Jim's seat. Yeah. He likes that prime seat.
I do.
That's the baseball side, so they can talk baseball. Chip Hayner's here. I got to have your name, Anthony Paiano. See, I called him Piano before.
It's a good Italian name.
It's Paiano.
Yeah,
good
Italian.
I grew up with all the Italians in Greentree. Next door neighbors, Piccinini, Stratigos, Floriolis, DeMeos, Russos, you name it. All of them in the neighborhood, and they're still friends of mine. They thought I was Italian and called me Levini. But I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. Glad I could share that.
You know what? I'm not going to touch that one.
I know you could go anywhere. Hey, the Pirates had this great green weenie on that same thread.
Yeah, well, there you go. I kind of let the cat out of the bag.
Well, we're only a few years apart that we know of. Olive Oil's Pizzeria sponsors our show with a XL pepperoni pizza. Hoagie cutting 6 slices. Tonight it was only 4, so it's gone. But other than that, we're good. Hillcrest Shopping Center, check it out. Saw an old neighbor of mine, Chrissy. She grew up right next door, Chrissy Tellick, and was my neighbor on Robert Drive. So it was nice to see her. You know, I always make new friends wherever I go. There was a gentleman there named Nick. He goes, I'm going to just finish this pizza. He was a larger guy. And I go ahead, you're here to eat the pizza. He finished it. So he told me he has some video business and has a website, and I gave him my card. I said, what's that nickname? He goes, Talking Machine. I'll send you an email. So you never know who you'll meet. Frank Venero said hello. Hope you like the pizza and hoagie. Next up, we end each show with Stay Joey Strong. We got A1 on the controls there with the camera. You know Mr. Autofocus got it tuned in.
One thing.
Go ahead.
How about a shout out to the people in Munhall, home of the Homestead Grays.
Whoa, there you go. Good shout out. All right, Joey Fabus, 8 years old, died of DIPG, dreaded brain cancer. There's a picture of him before and after DIPG. Died before his 9th birthday 7 years ago. And we end each show with Stay Joey Strong. They do events. They have their biggest event in September, 5K 1 mile superhero run for the Joey Thabus Cancer Foundation. That's where they make their most money. They do other events and different things throughout the year. Donate as little as $1 or donate your time to help with their fundraisers. Check it out. If not, see you in September. Another 501c3, Auto A1. Look, he's not even touching it. He got the tape. I haven't moved it in 3 weeks, so the tape's perfect. Look at that. Bethel Park Historical Society Schoolhouse Arts and History Center, 2600 South Park Road. Can't miss it. Got the old trolley, red and white trolley right out front. Nice old flagpole. 1905 original high school here in Bethel Park. Been refurbished from top to bottom. You've heard my spiel each week. If you're new and you haven't, all new roof, 50-plus windows, you name it, they've done it. They even have an artist there. They have a community foundation auditorium and just great things like that. Check them out for when their events happen. And they got my favorite tea place, Reginald's Coffee. A friend of mine, Bethany, that I did a show with, came into town, said she went to Reginald's Coffee with 3 friends, said she loves the place. Look, she came from Florida just to go to Reginald's Coffee. They're better than Starbucks, from what I've heard. I'm not a coffee drinker, just tea. All right. Another 501c3. They're popular on Pittsburgh Sportsline. Always Be Smiling. B is Bennett. 16-and-a-half-year-old young man died of complications due to kidney disease and other issues that he had. And he was always smiling in his life, even though he was handicapped. And his dad, Dean, gave him a great kidney. His mother, Kristen, and Dean started a foundation called Always Be Smiling. They help other people with children getting kidney transplants, give them money and different bonuses there to help them get through the procedures. So check them out. Thanks for everybody liking their page. Once we got them to 1,000, it's all gravy. Speaking of a kidney, look at autofocus. What the heck happened? He touched the camera. Is it? Look at that pause. It's about 5 seconds. Kathleen Miller. She got a hold of me through a friend of mine. She needed a kidney and said, could you advertise that I'm looking for a living donor? Well, we did it for about 6 months. Somebody agreed to donate a kidney when she needs a transplant. When her level gets down to 15, like it was for me, she'll get a kidney transplant and we'll find out who the donor was. She thanked us for doing it because she thinks it may have been somebody that saw us on our TV show. So thank you very much, Kathleen. We'll have to get a hold of you. Next up, let's go Automan. There's that delay. There it is. It's a little slanted. No, there we are. There, we're good. It was a little crooked there. I want you for BPTV. Tell them Uncle Al, the talking machine, wants you for BPTV. You can be like A2 Piano, A1 Beltry, Nick Callis, and Ryan. I don't know what the heck his last name is.
His last name's Thomas.
Okay, we'll just go by that. And if you're in high school, you can come out, help us out, learn how to run cameras, audio, maybe even get a guest appearance at times if Smoking Jim misses out on one of his accidents, health issues, or other mysterious things that befall him. I mean,
That's all I got in the chair, folks.
10 plus years. Look at Nick. We can't get rid of him now. He's stuck here. He's even determining what seat he sits in. He's been to my right. Now he's over on the left.
Don't forget about Wally Chip.
Oh, I remember. Yeah. The famous Wally Chip. You have to
Been here
look
since
that
the
up.
3rd episode. They haven't been able to get rid of me.
Oh,
Yeah. Chip's been there. Wally, Chip. And now he's setting the records for being on the show. Yeah, but check out bpcf.org. They've given out over $1 million to groups in the Bethel Park area. They have grant money from $100 to $5,000. And you get an application online. I'm a trustee on the board. Come to our meetings. It's usually every couple months. And you can do that. All right, check that out. Oh, wait, we went to the wrong thing. Well, we did this. You already heard about it. How's it look, Otto? Perfect. All right, that's what I was talking about. Got a little confused. Not too many things here. We got What's on Your Mind, Nick Callis.
XL Levine, the talking machine, and if you want the green, you've got to see Levine. Oh! Wow.
Oh, it's under there. Here, I'll give you another one.
Okay, you got to see Levine. Got it. There we go. Okay, cool. So, that didn't go as well as I thought. Anyway, the quarterback shuffle in the NFL has me so excited. It's wonderful. The transactions in Major League Baseball are wonderful. I'm happy baseball is back. I'm happy the NFL is literally the most important thing that exists in life right now. Isn't it wonderful? You got Watson going to the Browns. You got Matt Ryan going to the Colts. You got Carson Wentz now on the Commanders. Russell Wilson on the Broncos. It's all very exciting. And then in Major League Baseball, the big one, the Athletics acquired Matt Chapman. No, sorry, other way around. The Blue Jays acquired Matt Chapman, and that's the second time they've done that in the last few years because they acquired Josh Donaldson from the A's as well, so I wonder how that's going to go. Everything's being shaken up, and it has me very excited. There was a point of discussion today as well going on in the NFL with quarterbacks, and apparently Baker Mayfield is soon to be released from the Browns because nobody wants to trade for him, which is kind of like sad face on him, poor Baker Mayfield. And there was a report from a Cleveland credible journalist, sports writer, who said that Baker Mayfield would be pounced on by the Steelers if he was released. And I think that that's interesting. I'll talk a little bit about that later. But I think
just to interrupt you, to all the sports media people that told you about Aaron Rodgers, that was never true.
And credible sports writer.
You're right.
That's an oxymoron.
Listen. Oh, it is. Well. Anyway, okay. Point being,
I missed the whole point of this. Carry on.
Oh, I'm just talking about being excited about transactions. There's really nothing.
We
too factual
appreciate
here.
that. Thank you, Nick.
What's on my mind is that all this stuff's happening, and I appreciate that there are things to report on, and that there are things to talk about now. Because my two favorite sports are football and baseball, and they're both
No
like, at a high
disclaimer,
right now.
but I got to share with Nick. Pittsburgh Sports Line talks sports.
That's what I'm doing. This is great.
So he's fitting in perfectly. It took a while, almost a year.
Over a year now.
No wonder it is over a year. Sometimes it sinks in.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
why we don't need a disclaimer.
I can't believe it sunk in after all this time. And more fun news, too. I got more shifts back. I worked my first Pirate game over the weekend. So we're getting back on the train with shifts because I get to cover baseball games. And they're playing all 162 games. That's not new, but still exciting. And I'll get more into the quarterback situation and what the most interesting one to me was during my segment. But that's what's on my mind.
Oh, you're teasing us.
Yeah.
Yeah, he knows about that stuff. He went to school, Waynesburg U.
Yeah.
Shout out to Lanny.
Yellow Jackets, baby.
Lanny Fratteri created this guy. All right, Chip Hayner, what's on your mind?
Thank you, Alan, and good evening, everybody. And before we go any further, I just want to go on the record as saying I hate the DH. It's an abomination. Now that I've got that out of my system,
Okay.
okay, what a great week for Pittsburgh sports. We've got Pittsburgh Pirates playing baseball. The Penguins make a big trade yesterday.
Hold it, I got to interrupt you
Gearing up
guys.
for the
Did you guys
playoffs.
script this?
What?
Did you script this? We never script anything. It sounds scripted today. You're both happy and talking sports.
No,
There's something wrong on
Baseball's
Pittsburgh Sports
being
Line.
played.
What are we going to talk about?
spring is in the air.
Okay.
Okay. And the Pittsburgh Steelers are thinking outside of the box. They're spending money on free agents.
Yeah.
And the Cleveland Browns are showing everybody why they have been a laughingstock of the NFL for the last 20 years. And the way their management teams handles things now, it looks like we've got plenty of laughs for the next 20 years. Let me touch on the subject of their big move to get quarterback Deshaun Watson. Everybody seems to think Deshaun Watson is the second coming. The second coming of what will remain to be seen, but he certainly isn't the first or the second coming of anything. You know, people seem to fail to remember that the last time he played football, which was, oh, by the way, 2 years ago, he was the quarterback of a 4-12 team. Okay, let's remember this now, folks.
They reversed those numbers. They just
team
reversed them.
That had been going to the playoffs every year. But I guess you could blame that on Bill Bradley. I don't know. Maybe the quarterback doesn't have anything to do with wins or losses. Maybe the Cleveland Browns should take note. They've destroyed any tradability they had of Baker Mayfield, a former #1 pick in the draft, who now they can't give him away, and they're going to end up eating $20 million against the salary cap this year, on top of paying Deshaun Watson $46 million. And the rest of the Cleveland Browns players that have been there and tenured are going to want raises, and they're not going to be able to get them because they're going to have $66 million of their cap money tied up in one quarterback that's going to play that could be questionable as to how long he plays, and one that will never play for them again. So great move, Cleveland. You're showing that your management skills have not diminished, not one bit. That's what's on my mind.
No doubt about it. Thank you for that happy left side of the room.
Hey, anytime the Cleveland Browns make fools of themselves, it's a good day in my book.
Oh, yeah.
Great day for Pittsburgh.
No, I understand, but I got to just share this irony. Like Smoking Jim a couple years ago believed that the Browns would be in the Super Bowl and all this other stuff. And I said, I'll take all the money. And you know what his betting record is, Smoking Jim, you know what it is. So if you're watching, I didn't take his money, but they didn't win.
Beat the Steelers
I
in the
heard on
playoffs.
ESPN today when they were talking about how the Steelers or the Browns, how people thought that they would go to the Super Bowl last year.
Why isn't he here tonight? He loves Baker Mayfield.
He said he might be watching us on Facebook Live.
This would be the perfect night.
And I don't see him on here. I see other people. Hey, Ralph Williams, hello. Amy from the bakery at Giant Eagle, hello. And she said, get well to Smoking Jim. All right, Tony
Well,
from...
you know, the sad thing of it is if he wouldn't have had to have surgery on his shoulder in January, you know, maybe he could start in the USFL.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield.
Yeah. Tony from Chick-fil-A said, even with an IV, Smoking Jim still posted pictures of sweeties. And then Bill Means agreed, Chip, they are living up to their rep. Browns.
And Tony, to answer your question, the Pirates have no other choice but to play their young prospects. And keep watching. This year is going to be fun to watch the Pirates
Hold it,
play.
didn't Charrington bring in 33 new players last year, something like that?
Well, they're all going to get a chance to play.
They got to be like Piano and Callis. They're young. They can play. All right, speaking of Piano,
What's on my mind is definitely the NFL free agency has been going wild this year. It's been really up and down for a lot of teams.
are you liking it?
Yeah, it's shaking up the league a lot. They needed it. Some teams are better off than others. The Titans were terrible at cutting Julio Jones. They need wide receiver core, so they cut him. Don't know why they did that. The Steelers could pick him up. That would be nice. I would like to see Julio. Or Odell's still a free agent. They can pick up him, even though he's injured.
That's a good point.
But I think
You're
that
on fire right now. Carry on.
the Steelers should definitely consider Tyrann Mathieu. He's the best free agent out right now, in my opinion. He's definitely.
Yeah, but he's 32.
Yeah, but it's still like.
How many more years do you think he has? 3, 4?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think that if the Steelers signed him for like 2, 3, that'd be fine. Like him plus Minka in the backfield would be almost an unstoppable duo that no quarterback would be able to throw downfield with those two out there.
I like your
So-
insights. I'm worried about Flores being the coach, and Minka might not be playing. He'll be on the bench.
The thing I think that throws a monkey wrench into that is the amount of money it would cost to get Tyrann Mathieu here.
Yeah, that's the main
When
problem.
you've got to pay Minka. and you can't have the two highest paid safeties
That is true.
And-
You can drain.
and, you
It would be a
know,
nice duo.
in
Yeah.
the same backfield. It's
No,
just
I
it's not
thought
going
of
to
that
work out
too.
under the cap.
It's like the Steelers also lost. I think they lost Joe Hayden. I'm pretty sure. That's just
Yeah.
sad about that. He was a
Well, he
very
was-
good Steeler for his
Yeah,
time
but
here.
he was finally going a little
Yeah,
bit downhill.
He was. You could tell he slowed
Age,
down.
age started to get him a little
And we
bit.
also lost Juju, which is interesting, which everyone kind of expected. He wanted paid.
Well,
and Steelers
just to
didn't wanna pay
interrupt you, last year, guess what? As popular as Juju is on social media, nobody wanted him.
Yeah.
He had to come back with his tail between his legs, and then look what he didn't do.
Yeah, because you can find receivers that are just as good as him that are not as injury prone as he was the 2 years that he was playing with us. So,
Well,
I
look
mean,
at his one good year. He had the leading receiver on the other side.
Yeah, sure.
so
so-
now he's got Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce.
Yeah, so he's.
He
the
might
numbers.
flourish in that offense.
That's what I'm thinking.
He probably will as long as he doesn't get injured
Mahomes
again.
can't help but hit him in the head in the middle of the field. When he's standing there doing nothing, then we'll see if he can hang on to the ball.
Well, that's on my mind. I hope the Steelers make some more good signings. I hope they get Tyron if
Well,
they can get
they
him for
thought
cheaper.
so far outside the box, we can only hope.
I hope
right?
so. They've been doing pretty
This
good.
got to be exciting for all of us. I'm excited. All right, thank you. What's on my mind? Chief McElroy said Browns gave up way too much for Watson. Thanks, Chief. We appreciate you watching. What's up on my mind is look at how exciting sports is. Spring is sprung, and we got all this activity out there. I actually listened to a couple Pirate games, first two games, and they won.
Yeah.
So that pumped me up that I think the youth program may come to fruition. Then I've been in shock for a week because I got to talk about the Steelers. I always say they keep doing the same thing and the head's rotten on a fish, Art Rooney. All of a sudden the head died and they're thinking outside the box, signing people, getting rid of people. And it's all for things that us fans, look what we've been looking at, criticizing them the last 5-6 years. This didn't just happen. Now they're doing what we want, some free agencies, mix it up a little bit, and we'll see what happens.
Well, we'll still find reasons to criticize them.
Yeah.
Well, we all know if you're not criticizing Tomlin, then you're not a Steeler fan. Look at Smoking Jim Frazier. He's a Steeler scout. He says that's his best friend, and he talks bad about him.
I just like to hang the backdrops whenever they win a game.
Well, you jinxed them like nobody's business for a few
Yeah,
games. When you put that backdrop, we may have to put it on the side so we can move a camera to it.
Yeah.
When you think about
Can't
it.
be on the set.
Hey, but that's what's on my mind. We got a lot more sports to talk about, so we're going to come back in 10 seconds with the VIP.
All right, so the biggest move that's gotten attention this week is Deshaun Watson going to the Cleveland Browns. So a lot of repercussions are coming from this trade that will not only affect the AFC North, but also might affect the entire league. So they traded for him, and then they gave him more money. They tacked on $230 million guaranteed. And in his first year, he's only making like $1 million to $4 million, I forget exactly, but that's just in case he gets suspended. He's not going to lose any money, and then the heavier amounts of money will come in the subsequent years. So the Browns were out of the sweepstakes for maybe 36 hours, and then they were like, that one significant other begging, like, please, no, don't go. I'll do anything for you. And the Browns did anything for him by giving him the highest contract of guaranteed money that a player has gotten in the NFL. So what's this going to do for the league? Let's start with the AFC North. Right now, I think that the Steelers have the worst and most uncertain quarterback position. I think Deshaun Watson will bolster the offense of the Browns. He is definitely an upgrade from Baker Mayfield, and that's a whole situation that's terrible with them now. But they've got a good offense. Does that mean they're going to be a good team? No. Does it mean that the Steelers are going to be bad? Not necessarily, but the Steelers right now have the most question marks. The Bengals, the Ravens, and the Browns right now all have some more certainty to them. Okay, yeah. And I know what Chip's thinking is Deshaun Watson certain. Now that I say that out loud, maybe not because he hasn't played in a while and the Texans.
I'll let you finish.
Yeah, no, I got it. So,
Hey, one thing
but that's okay.
I want to give you a little pause for thought.
All right, go
Other
ahead.
people, because inquiring minds want to know. These 22 civil suits with sexual assault.
all right. The one thing I
The
said.
one thing I wanted to tell
All right,
people is I just have to interrupt you. I have no tolerance for that. And first of all, the NFL's about money. So look what the Browns did so they can pay a guy that may be suspended 6, 8, maybe a year. He could get suspended if he's found guilty of anything.
But he's not going to lose money, and that's what
That's
the
what-
structure of the deal. Yes,
Hence
Well,
the
that's what
money.
Yes.
You back that up. All
Think
right,
about
thanks.
all the women that watch the NFL. How much are they going to be fond of watching a sexual
A
predator?
predator, yeah.
Yeah. So again,
It
that
could
just-
hurt a little
that
by the
just-
mistake on the lake.
That just proves that the NFL is bigger than life. There we go. So congratulations, NFL. You're the only thing that matters apparently in the world. But in that case,
Well, this is your world right now, so carry on.
yes. So okay. So the Browns are a little bit more uncertain. I'm assuming that Watson will play, and I think that he's one of the more talented quarterbacks in the league, and I think that he will lead them somewhere if he gets to play. So that's not considering the other scenarios that I think everybody on the panel's already considered, is that if he won't play, what's going to happen to the Browns? They're in a bad situation, but I'm saying that
Well, they'll still have Baker.
assuming all their quarterbacks are still playing, will they though? I don't think they will. But that's not the point. Now, what's Deshaun Watson? How's he going to shape the rest of the league? You've got a problem as it relates to, you gave a guy who I would argue, and I hope most others who watch the NFL would argue, who's not the best quarterback in the league. So, but you've given him the most guaranteed money out of anybody who's ever played in the NFL. So, for all the other quarterbacks now who would be better than Deshaun Watson, now you're going to start having them ask for more guaranteed money. And I'm sure that the teams who want to solidify those quarterbacks and have successful teams are going to make more amends to giving those guaranteed contracts and giving the quarterbacks or any significant players more money, because now a precedent's set. Watson's, again, not the best quarterback in the league according to many. So to give him that money, I mean, what's going to happen when Patrick Mahomes gets a new contract, or Aaron Rodgers already got his money, so I don't know how they're going to deal with him. But some of the other pristine quarterbacks, you've created a market now where guaranteed money is going to start being more regular, and that's not necessarily the greatest for the NFL teams. And you saw the Rams gave Matthew Stafford $130 million guaranteed, and so now I think that the dominoes are going to continue to fall, and you're going to see more guaranteed money, and that's not necessarily great because they might get into a situation now where they have just these massive contracts that, like Major League Baseball is getting, where you're paying players more money than they should be making, and you're not investing in more of the future, and you're creating heavy established players and not enough prospects. And then there
Hey,
might be
one
an
check on the
imbalance in sport.
sound. Bill Means said we may have lost sound.
Hello.
Is there a sound check? Ryan, are we okay? We're
He
good.
said we're good.
We're
Yeah,
good.
we're
Maybe
good.
it's on your Facebook there, Bill.
Yeah, but
Thanks for the heads
yeah.
up.
So my opinion is I think that the NFL landscape is going to shift with this money, and fully guaranteed money for the athletes isn't that great, and especially because Deshaun Watson's not the best. You're creating now an imbalance where I think the more players are going to start asking for more fully guaranteed money.
Well, they've
and-
been asking for it. This is actually what they wanted. So look at who they're giving this money to.
My personal opinion on this is going to be a financial disaster for the Cleveland Browns, and people are going to look at the precedent that's been set, and they're going to say, "I'm not going to do this to my franchise."
Right.
Well, the Rams.
Just my humble
the
opinion.
Rams followed suit with giving Stafford $130 million guaranteed.
You knew they were going to give him something.
Yeah, but that much, I don't think they would have
Well,
given him that much.
consider what they gave up for him, okay? And he just won them the Super Bowl, so that's like
A reward.
That's a reward for bringing home the bacon. See,
He
Deshaun
did what he
Watson
was supposed to
hasn't
do.
done anything, and to be honest with you, there is no guarantee that he's going to even be the best quarterback in the AFC North. He may not even be the third best quarterback in the AFC North this year.
I think if he plays, he'll be like at least second
You know,
behind Burrow.
You know what?
But and again, I have faith in Trubisky too. I'm on the Trubisky train. That's fine. I just think that Watson's already established himself and already played well for the Texans when they had a pretty good team a few years ago. Again, now he's uncertain, but I think he's less uncertain than Trubisky, who has been on and off over the past few years.
Look at what the Browns did. They got rid of their two best receivers, Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham Jr. And then they took a washed-up Amari Cooper and gift-wrapped him from the Dallas Cowboys. He was a failure for the Raiders. He was a bigger failure for the Cowboys. Now all of a sudden he's going to come to the Browns and be something special.
We're not arguing that the Browns are in a terrible situation. The Browns are in a really bad spot.
But here's the thing. Last year, all of the experts guaranteed that the Steelers were going to be in last place in the division. That they had no chance of making the playoffs.
Right.
They had absolutely no chance of ending up over 500. And the two teams that everybody picked to be the representatives in the playoffs of our division finished behind the Steelers. And had the Steelers won one game against the Cincinnati Bengals, they would have won the division. So before we count the Steelers as being the weakest team in the division this year, let's play the game.
Let me be clear before I finish this up. I don't think the Steelers are the weakest team. I just said the offenses. I think right now you've got more certainty with the other three teams. I don't think the Browns' defense is anywhere near coherent right now. The Ravens have been very shaky, and I think that the Bengals kind of turned it on when they needed to make a good playoff run. But I think
they were only a half game ahead of us.
That's what I'm saying. There's no certainty.
That's reality.
In terms of the names of the quarterbacks and how they've been established over the last few years, I think that the Steelers right now have the weakest and most uncertain quarterback situation. I don't think they're the weakest overall team, and I have faith in Trubisky to make a good impression on the Steelers and do well, because I think that a new atmosphere for him in a place that's already established that they're searching for Super Bowl championships every year, I think that that's going to do good for him. I just think it's uncertain. Watson's the more certain name right now of the two quarterbacks.
All he is a name. He hasn't proven anything. And think about the guys that have bled, sweat, and paid the price for the Cleveland Browns that aren't going to get paid now because he is.
I also think the Browns are in a terrible situation.
Glad you both I'm glad you both can agree on that. Thanks, Nick.
In my continued celebration of the game, of the resumption of baseball, last week I brought up a Pirate greatest home run hitter in Pirate history.
Wilver.
Okay? And I think everybody knows who the greatest right fielder that ever roamed right field for the Pittsburgh Pirates. That goes without saying, Roberto Clemente. Okay? But what I'd like to talk about this evening is the second greatest right fielder that ever put on a Pirate uniform.
Whoa.
And he had a little nickname, and he had a brother that played on the team and played center field next to him.
Whoa.
And their nicknames were Big Poison and Little Poison. That would be Paul and Lloyd Wainer.
Hall of Famers.
The Hall of Famers, both of them in the Hall of Fame. Paul Wainer played for four teams from 1926 to 1945, played 15 years roaming right field for the Pittsburgh Pirates. The greatest Pirate outfielder up to his retirement. He won the 1927 National League Most Valuable Player Award in his second season, collecting a team record 237 hits that year.
That's a lot.
Wainer set the team record for doubles in a season 3 times, including in 1932 when he set the National League record for doubles in a season with 62.
Wow.
In the only postseason appearance of his career, he hit .333 against the in 1927 against the 1927 Yankees, who are arguably one of the best teams of all time.
Yeah.
Wainer won 3 National League batting titles, led the National League in hits twice, and collected over 200 hits in 8 seasons from 1926 to 1934. Just to give you some of his accomplishments on the baseball field. Career batting average, 333.
Whoa.
3,152 hits. He was the 7th player to gather 3,000 hits in Major League Baseball.
Wow. What an honor.
And number 11 was the right fielder that followed him
How
by
many
a decade
years?
or so.
Yeah, how many
Roberto
years?
Clemente. So think about that.
Maybe 2 decades.
Yeah. Let's see here. When was it?
When did he quit?
June 19th, 1942 is when he got his 3,000th hit. You remember that, don't you, Nick? Oh, yeah. You were just a tadpole.
28 years later.
He only hit
Roberto.
113 home runs with 1,309 runs batted in. He played for the Pirates, the Brooklyn Dodgers, the Boston Braves, and then again for the Brooklyn Dodgers. Finished his career playing for the New York Yankees.
Whoa.
His career highlights: he was a 4-time All-Star, 1933 to 1935 and 1937. National League MVP, 1927. 3-time batting champion. National League RBI leader in 1927. And the Pirates have retired his number 11. So that was Big Poison.
Nice.
And let's not forget about his younger brother, who's
Little.
also in the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame, Lloyd Wainer. Lloyd was nicknamed Little Poison. Didn't make the 3,000 hit club. He finished with a batting average over 310 seasons. Earned selection to the Major League Baseball All-Star Game in 1938. Lloyd and Paul Wainer set the record for career hits by brothers in Major League Baseball. He was elected to the Hall of Fame by the Veterans Committee in 1967. He worked as a scout for the Pirates and the Baltimore Orioles after retiring as a player. Some of his career accomplishments: career batting average 316, 2,459 base hits, 27 home runs, 598 runs batted in. He played for the Pirates from 1927 to 1941, played for the Boston Braves, the Cincinnati Reds, the Philadelphia Phillies, the Brooklyn Dodgers, and finished his career at the Pirates 1944-1945. So he played center field next to his brother Lloyd, but they were quite the duo for the Pittsburgh Pirates. And, I know Smoking Jim was here when I talked about the second greatest right fielder for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Would have gone in a different direction, but unfortunately, his career statistics don't match up.
Hey, Chip, I even knew a couple guys that I worked with at the Post-Gazette starting in 1975. They said they had drinks with the Wainer brothers at some after-hours clubs and bars. They said they could both drink. That's my little bit of trivia.
Well, Paul Wainer died in August of 1965. His little brother.
One more stat.
One more stat. I've got it here. Wikipedia is great. If you ever need us. And his brother passed away July 22nd, 1982.
Wow, that's great. Hey, thanks, Bill Means. Good history. Amy said good history. Marla joined the show. Hi, Marla. And we're going to move on so we don't have, what is it?
Take two with A2.
We got take two with A2. Bring it on, A2.
So I'm going to be talking about some basketball for
Way to mix it up.
Yeah.
How could
And
you?
by the way, you look pretty cool in that yellow outfit.
Thank you. Matches the Pittsburgh.
The
Sports
hold it.
line.
Let me bring out the card. I carry these around a lot. A1, can you get that card? I'll make sure you're on A2.
But yeah, basketball. Recently in the NBA, LeBron James has surpassed Karl Malone's all-time point record.
Yeah.
Just became the second most scorer.
Who's he chasing now?
I think it's Will Chamberlain, I'm pretty sure. I think he will surpass him in the next 2 years. LeBron, there's always the debate who's better, LeBron James or Michael Jordan. They're both amazing in the basketball aspects. They both have helped every team that they've been on.
Who would you pick, though?
I grew up watching LeBron, so I'm going to have to say LeBron. But
I grew up watching Jordan. I say Jordan.
exactly. It just depends on the era. If you grew up with one, you're going to suggest the
This
other
is
one.
just A here. We got A1, A2.
Because they both
I'm
had
A.
unique styles. LeBron was definitely more of a playmaking, where Jordan was more of a scorer. So, I mean, they both brought something different to the table.
Well, Jordan's, wasn't as complete a basketball player as LeBron.
Yeah.
LeBron's the real deal as a player.
Yeah.
He can do everything.
Yeah, you can do a little bit of everything. Of course,
my
he's on
opinion.
a bad team. The Lakers are terrible. They're
Hold it,
like
wait.
a 10 seed or something.
He made that team. He got all the players. He got to take some responsibility.
Yeah, he made the team.
He
got
put
the-
it all together. He can't help it that some of them got too old.
Yeah, they started falling apart.
I will say the difference between, I think, Jordan and LeBron is Michael Jordan made the people that played around him better, more so than LeBron did.
Yeah, Michael was definitely surrounded by a lot more talent as well than LeBron
No,
was.
he brought the best out of them. There's no question.
The best that LeBron
Whether
had
they
was
liked him or
Kyrie
disliked him.
Yeah.
and Kevin Love, but that was an older Kevin Love, so I mean.
Yeah, good points. Good points, A2. What
That's-
else do you got?
That's all my segment. That's all I got.
You know what? That was great.
Yeah, I just wanted to get some NBA. in
That's
there.
the fourth time for A2, and he got an A+ from me. Another
an A.
good segment. All right, we'll be back with my segment, Ryan, just to give you a 10-second heads up. A2. What a graphic that was. He only missed 20 different spots that we've been in. He was close. He was close. Not to be too critical. We've been to quite a few places. Speaking of On Location, got a message this week. We're going to Northway Community Church out at 121 Perry Highway in Wexford, April 2nd, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Nick, mark your calendar for that.
Yeah, that one might be too short notice.
Oh, I just got notified yesterday.
Yeah, I start my shift at 1 on Saturday.
Guess you can't be there with us.
Big thumbs down, sorry.
Well, Smoking Jim's out there. It's for Jack Mook, some golden gloves. We're going to be doing that. Then I got a phone call the other week. Talked to Jim Frio, talked to Mike Murray. Mark your calendar, Nick, for the cameras. 4/16, April 16th.
That I will be there.
Monsville Prison. It's haunted. They've done haunted shows on some of the special channels that they do have ghosts there at the prison. We were there for the first time for boxing, and they told us, hey, can you guys get out of here? I go, the fights are just about over. They go, when the fights are over, just leave, because at 10 o'clock they're filming the haunted prison. So that's Monsville Prison in Monsville, and we'll have a great show there. They treat us great, and it's just a very nice ride down there. So we'll be down there. Smoking Jim, get the car, get your feet and legs ready so you can drive us, and we'll just go with that. Then we got another show possibly. Nick, mark your calendar for the 9th of April. We may have a Golden Gloves show at Monroeville Mall. So Smoking Jim can actually walk there if we knew where he actually lived. We'll find that out later. So we got some on-location shows coming up. Don't forget Ray Schaefer Boxing Club has some other shows that are going to be coming up, whether we do an interview show like we did on location. We may bring 1 or 2 of those back with some sponsors and boxers. And then we may do some other Golden Gloves fighting there. So check out the Shaler, Millville area too. That's what we got coming back with On Location. We're going to come back and we're going to talk some Penguin talk. By the way, A1 got his Penguin jersey on. A2's all sports lined up. And the Penguins made a couple trades and stuff. Chip will get into some of those details there. They got a couple trades that could help us with a rental player. Kapanen scored his first goal in, 20-some games. So maybe he's off the snide and he'll start scoring some more. He's fast, but he seems to go past that goal or too short of the goal. So we need him to get the puck in the net. And that's what we're looking for. Penguins are going to make the playoffs. It looks like they can't miss. And we'll just see what they can do to get people healthy and better. And we'll just see what goes on. And hopefully Jari has the right mindset where I won't doubt him in the playoffs. Chip, what are your thoughts?
Well, the Penguins made the move that they had to make because the bottom six scoring seems to have been a problem for quite some time. They needed to put some type of a winger on Malkin's line that has capability of putting the puck in the net. So,
Yes. They
you know,
got that.
Richard Raquel, they picked him up off of Anaheim. I don't know if they gave
No,
up
I think it's Ricardo.
Raquel, R-A-K-E-L-L.
No, Ricardo Raquel, isn't it?
It says Richard here.
Oh, okay. I thought it was Ricardo.
Well,
Whoops.
who knows? Maybe it's Richard Ricardo. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
But anyhow, the Penguins gave up Zach Ashton Reese and Dominic Simone, as well as some prospects. I think one of the prospects
Ooh.
that we gave up, a young goaltender, Callie Klang, has the potential to be a very good
That's
goaltender
what they've been
in this
saying,
league.
yeah.
You know, and I think giving him up, you know, means that they must have a lot of faith in Casey DeSmith. But he could have potentially been the goaltender of the future for the Pittsburgh Penguins. But, you know, Raquel is somebody that's he's a rent-a player. We've only got him for the rest of the season. He
Sure.
becomes an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year. But here's a guy, 51 games for Anaheim this year, scored 16 goals. So he has the ability. Back in 2017, 2018, he had 30-goal seasons, scored
can score.
18 goals and 15 goals respectively in 19 and 20. So this is a guy that has been known to find the net. He can skate any kind of game the Penguins want to play. He's got the speed to play the speed game, and he's not afraid to bang bodies.
Well, he can fit in the system that Sully has.
You know, so you know that's you know, did the Penguins give up too much? I guess it remains to be seen. Is it going to affect the chemistry of the team?
We'll see.
Dominic Simone has been a bit of a disappointment since he's been on the Penguins, and Zach Ashton Reese is somebody that a good piece on the team.
Yeah.
But you got to give up something to get something in return. So,
And let me just share this. The window's closing on our 3 stars.
right.
Whether you want to realize it or not, you know, they are getting older. So the big 3, you know, Malkin, Letang, and Sid.
Well,
Sid may play till Brady's age, but
I can tell
he's
you
not
this,
the same.
out of the Eastern Conference, the Penguins are going to have their work cut out for them come playoff time because, you know, the Carolina Hurricanes are the cream of the crop, but let's not forget the 2-time defending champs,
Yeah.
the Tampa Bay Lightning. They're not going to be easy to step over, nor the Florida Panthers. So, it'll be interesting to see how deep in the playoffs they can go. And
Let's hope more than one round.
Well, you know, I mean,
I'm
if-
looking for more than one round.
If we go
That'll
more
be
than
a
one
winning
round,
season.
that'll make the trade worthwhile. Now, one of the more interesting trades that happened yesterday, a Pittsburgh Penguin all-time favorite, Marc-Andre Fleury,
Yes.
got traded from the Chicago Blackhawks to the
Minnesota.
Minnesota Wild. So, you know, he's had to pack his bags again. The interesting thing about the Penguins trade with Raquel is that Anaheim agreed to pay 35% of his salary this year so that it would fit him under the cap for us.
Nice.
Otherwise, you know, that's probably the reason why we threw in a couple of prospects, but, you know,
Negotiating's part of the give and take.
we'll wait and see. At the end of the first period, I believe Columbus is up on the Penguins 1-0.
Boo.
You know, Penguins
Thanks to the lady saying spring is sprung.
spring has
Marla and Amy said spring is sprung.
Yes.
spring has sprung.
And
Yeah.
I'm struggling to sleep now because of daylight savings. So, hooray.
You know what? They're going to make it permanent next year.
I heard that's wonderful.
And he's sarcastic, which we appreciate on the show.
Makes no difference to me one way or the other.
Any thoughts on the Penguins there, young puppy?
I agree with you. Hope they make it past the first round. Past few years have been very disappointing. getting
That's
eliminated
why I
by
brought you on.
the
I needed
Islanders
a
are
yes
being-
man. But you're spot on. I can't argue with you.
And
Well,
Marc-Andre Fleury getting traded disappointed me. I like it.
Yeah.
thing that
but he's
concerns
still
me-
around playing.
The thing that concerns me going into the playoffs is that the referees swallow their whistles
Yes.
once we get into the playoffs, and the Penguins have been pushed around by a couple of teams so far, and you know that I think could shut them down in the series. And if anybody knows Penguin history, when you start pushing around Evgeny Malkin and you get him frustrated, he starts making
All you got to do is swear
foolish
at him.
penalties.
You just got to swear at the Mad Russian.
And he'll
does-
start making foolish penalties, and then you get a man down in playoff goals. You know, they're
Hey, the one thing I got to bring up, because you remind me of Reeves. Sully didn't like Reeves, and he was a big guy, and he had some success with some other teams. If we would have had Reeves in there, it gives you a little bit of an edge, because
Yeah,
he can
but-
hit people.
but after they got rid of Reeves, they only happened to win 2 cups.
Right.
So you know,
I said
Sully
a
knew a
little
little
bit.
bit about what he was doing.
No, I said a little bit against him, but
Yeah.
hey, what have
But-
we done lately? I'm like all the typical sports fans in Pittsburgh. What have you done for me lately?
Absolutely. So,
No, that's how we go. Nick, final thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think I'm a little more optimistic about the Penguins this year. I feel like
Why?
Their last couple cups, they had to play them a little gritty. Like, you know, they weren't easy wins. And I was at Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals when they beat the Ottawa Senators in 2017, and
Nice.
the game went back and forth the whole time, and it was a grind through the whole series.
Was it
And
an exciting game?
It was an exciting game, and I threw my popcorn in the air when they won. But again, that's not lately. And I know that they grinded against.
Thanks for sharing
You're
it.
welcome. You know, it was a grind against the Predators too.
I
and
hate it.
They've established they can beat the Hurricanes, who is probably the best team in the division right now, which would be the team to beat.
Here,
I
answer
don't
this.
know.
Answer this question. What is Jari going to do in playoffs,
I think he's going to do well. I have confidence.
and why?
Because the man has experience now. Wasn't too much experience
Do
before
you
he was
think there's
younger.
an improvement in his game?
I do.
And I don't believe that. As long as he goes into the playoffs healthy, I guarantee you, he was the only goaltending option we had last year, and he was injured.
Oh, there's no doubt.
He was injured, and that reflected in his play.
So I mean, I think that'll help too. I think
Great point,
I
Chip.
think DeSmith is a good backup now as well. Another young guy who's gotten more experience.
Well,
and
he
is-
showed flashes of brilliance. I'll give you that.
I don't think he's the number one, and I think that the pressure would still be a little too much in that playoff scenario. But I think Jari's the one to handle it, and DeSmith is a faithful number 2.
All right, I like your analysis there.
But I have faith. The Penguins, their last couple playoff runs, they've won gritty, and I think that that's something that they could do at least.
Well, what I like about the Penguins, I said last week, they're the grittiest team that I've seen since I started watching Penguins in '67. So that's what I've seen. They don't quit,
Right.
and I have nothing wrong with being gritty. I just need them to keep the puck out of the net.
I mean, I think they're going to get past the first round this year, but I have a little more optimism. I'm looking more at a conference finals. run here.
Final. You heard it here first from the VIP. You think they can?
I do.
What do you think, Chip?
You know, if they make it to the second round, I'll consider the season a major success. If they make it to the third, I'll be surprised, and then I'll be all aboard. You know,
Choo choo.
Me too. You with me still?
Yeah, I think they need to if they can get past
First
the
round,
Hurricanes or
we're
the
happy. We don't care if it's Rangers, Hurricanes, anybody.
if they make it further than the Hurricanes or the Lightning, I'll definitely say that they're a team to
I
be
like you
messed
throwing
with.
that out.
Because
You're
those
getting
two,
aggressive.
those two are the ones you need to get past first. Because if you can't, like if they're staying strong, then the Penguins are in a
Well,
tough spot.
two-time Stanley Cup winners.
back to back.
I mean, that means something, right?
It does.
And they haven't played up to the level that they have before. I've watched a few of their games, not just playing the Penguins, and they seem a little different than what I saw before.
And the
Like
ones-
some of the wins they've hung on to win were before they just come out and beat the team. They
Ones-
aren't doing that.
well, maybe they're saving themselves for the playoff run because, you know, they're a
Could
strong
be.
team.
When's the
They're a
last time
strong
a team? when's
They
the
know
last-
what
They know what they have to
They
do.
know what they have to do. They, you know, so
When's the last time a team three-peated, though? I go by odds.
I can't
80s.
recall.
I think it was the 80s.
it was
70s or
probably
80s?
the
Yeah.
Edmonton Oilers.
I don't remember who it was.
Yeah.
And that
And
was
it was
about
either the Edmonton Oilers or the New York Islanders, because I believe the Islanders may have won 4 in a row.
and the
I
80s
think
was
you may
over
be right on it.
was over 40 years ago ish now, so it's fine.
Well, depending on which part of the 80s.
So let's take the last few
1980,
minutes.
it's 42. But if you
Let's-
go further than that,
Let's,
it's less than 40.
let's take the last few minutes, talk about a Steelers draft wish list,
Okay.
and maybe we can touch a little bit on what's happening in Bradenton.
Oh, we could touch on both.
Can I go first with the Steelers thing?
Sure.
Okay. Kenny Pickett, Malik Willis, Baker Mayfield. My 3 on the wish list.
On my wish list for the Steelers in this year's draft,
I got to do a disclaimer.
no.
Nick has become
Alan.
crazed. Go ahead, Chip.
My wish list for the Steelers, I want some of those monster defensive linemen from the Georgia Bulldogs. That's what I want to see the Steelers draft.
And
in the first round.
I want to see an offensive lineman. It's good. A defensive lineman. It's good.
Because if you can't compete with the caliber of quarterbacks in your division, the next best thing is a defense that can shut them down.
Right.
And if the Steelers' run defense was atrocious last year, 2/3 of their defensive line were missing. I don't count on them being back as being the solution to the problem. They've got to get younger and nastier in the trenches, and that's what I would like to
No,
see.
I got to agree with you on that for sure. And the other thing is, Najee Harris broke Franco Harris's record with a subpar offensive line.
What do you mean subpar?
They
There
weren't
wasn't
even
an
up.
offensive line.
See the table? They didn't even make it to the table. They were. Here's the offensive line. Hey guys, that's how far back they were.
I mean, every run he had, he got hit 3 yards deep in the end zone.
Sometimes 5 yards,
and he still gained 1,200 yards.
Yeah.
and set the new rookie record. So we have a great running back. I would just like to see 2 or 3 good linemen to go on there.
Well, they've addressed some of those issues on through the free agency, and I'm sure
Right.
they're still going to pick up offensive line. And now you look for the Steelers to find another one of those wide receiving gems in the 4th or 5th round, like they always
Well,
do.
they're known for that, and they'll find them out there. That's for sure. So
I still think they're going to draft a quarterback in the first round. That is, if Mayfield doesn't get released and then signed by the Steelers, because apparently that's something that's possible.
Nick,
I buy it.
I just want to tell you, it's sort of like Aaron Rodgers again. That nobody really substantiated that.
Now, Aaron Rodgers established value. Baker Mayfield.
No, Aaron Rodgers people told our people he wanted to come here, and he didn't want to come here. He used it to negotiate. Baker Mayfield, we don't need him, nor do we want him.
Quarterback competition, though.
We don't
Unless
want him.
All right, well. they
I'll
don't-
take Trubisky for a year and get a new rookie
Oh, I have more
quarterback the
faith in
next year.
Trubisky than I do Mayfield. That's for sure.
Well, then we don't need Mayfield.
Well, he's a third.
Change
stringer,
your
third,
opinion.
fourth I can't change my
If he
opinion.
couldn't cut it in Cleveland, why would you think he would make it here?
He's got another chip on his shoulder to talk about. I mean, I don't know. That's a good point.
Who
I-
cares about how many chips he
See,
has
my
on his
problem with
shoulder?
all these quarterbacks that are changing teams, which I really find kind of amusing, the exception of, say, Russell Wilson and Karen Rodgers.
Oh, yeah.
Is
he
that
didn't change teams.
these guys, Carson Wentz, he's bounced. He failed at one team, went to another team, failed there miserably.
He didn't fail. They were one game short of the playoffs. That was a.
Hold it. Let me explain
Failed
something.
miserably, and now he's going to go to the Commanders. Oh, now all of a sudden he's going to get better.
They lost to the Clouds.
You just graduated school.
Yes.
If you had 1 point below what you needed for a D, what would you get?
An F.
Okay, that's Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So
Next subject.
now next up, Pirates are playing baseball.
Make it
It's going to
short,
be a
Chip.
lot of fun, a lot of young players. There is nothing but upside to this team. Expectations are completely minimal, so there's nowhere from here but up.
That's a good way to look at it.
That's the best way to look at the Pirates. Going with Chip's mentality there, I have hope. We'll keep hope alive. And A2, any last word?
Yeah, we pretty much went over it all. That was a lot.
Thanks for being on the show. He filled in for Smoking Jim Frazier, and please stay Joey strong.